Hi everyone, it's Tanya MFK here with the 52 Weeks of Momentum lesson recap. We are in week number 4. If this is your first time, hello, I am Tanya Marie Figueres-Kreisinger, more easily known as Tanya MFK. I am currently enrolled in the 52 Weeks of Momentum course by Benjamin Hardy, and I'm coming in here every week to share the lessons I learn, the insights, the exercises we do, so you can tag along. So without further ado, let's jump right in. We first started out with the lesson from Benjamin this week was really recapping what we've already done in the last couple weeks. And we have done a lot, and we tend to forget. I think we're always chasing after our goals and measuring ourselves and all that, that we tend to focus on the things we haven't done or accomplished yet. We've actually really done a lot. So if you have been tagging along and you've been doing these exercises with me, you've done a lot too. So we have set our top 5 goals, right? We started doing journaling every day. We started a morning routine. We started daily goals. We've uncommitted to things. Some of us have joined the 5 a.m. club. Yes, it's exactly what it sounds like. We're waking up early, right? So any of you guys doing this, we've done a lot. Brush your shoulders off, clink the champagne glasses, whatever works within your goal set. But yeah, kudos, we've done a lot. Super awesome. So that's what we've accomplished so far. Last week, we had an assignment that was to assess our time. So every day we had to look back on the day and think, what things have we spent time on that we absolutely hated, just did not like, suck our energy, drain us dry, and what type of things how much time do we spend on things that were just okay? And how much time did we spend on things that we absolutely love or fascinate or motivate us? So each day we had to look at these items. We had to look back and say, okay, which category do they fit in? And assess it by percentage of how much we spent on each of those things that day. Then at the end of the week, we could tally it all up and see what percentage of our time we're spending on things we don't like, on things that are just okay, and what we absolutely love, enjoy, fascinate, and motivate us. And there was a lot of wake-up calls for so many of us. When you start getting into numbers of like 40 and 50% of your time spending on things that you don't like, that you don't enjoy, that suck your energy, it makes you stop and think, makes you stop and wonder. And hopefully, and the best way to deal with that, right, is to look at those things and see what can be removed. A lot of these things we don't even need to be doing. They're not necessary. We just fall into these habits, or they're there, or we feel obligated. But when we really look at that and go, wait, is this how I want to live my life, spending half of my life doing things I don't even like? Then we can look and remove those things. If there are things that we can't remove, then the next step is to look at what we can delegate to others and what we can outsource. All right? That's the next step. That's really the big goal with this assessment, because most of our lives should be being spent on the things that we enjoy and that we love. And I'm sure, Benjamin got a lot of, flack back from people going, well, wait a minute, isn't that part of it? Isn't part of life just like doing stuff you don't like? There are pieces of that, right? But of course, your mind can shift as well to even starting to enjoy those things. If you're spending so much on your life, if you're spending 90% of your time on things that you love, then that 10%, you're going to get to a point where maybe it's not so bad, right? Maybe it's not so bad. So that was the big thing for you to really take that assessment and look at the time, look how you're spending it, see what changes you can make. And he shared with us that really that's kind of the goal within this whole course of our lives, of things, is to shift to spending our time doing the things that we love, right? It doesn't just mean your crafts or you're going out or whatever the thing is for you. It's that you're enjoying it, that you're being motivated by it, you're being fascinated, you're being filled by it, not your energy sucked by it, right? So maybe it's the laundry, right? Maybe right now the laundry is just, it's the worst thing ever. It just drains you, okay? Maybe laundry just doesn't get outsourced, it doesn't get delegated. Well, again, maybe if you're spending 90% of your time doing things you love, when you get to that laundry, it doesn't really have the opportunity to drain you or suck that energy from you like it used to, because you're shifting, you're upgrading, right? That's the whole thing. So I really loved this concept, and we really dove into it more this week. The first week we were kind of told just to do it. Now we dove into a little more of the reason and the why and the thought processes behind it. So that was really exciting. That was assessing your time It's a great exercise to do. It takes a week to just look at yourself and see how you're really spending your time. Don't let tragedy or something crazy make you finally take stock of how you're living your life. You can take charge of that now. You can look at that now. It's a good thing. So moving on from that, well, and there's, you might think like there's things I can't change, I can't do this, I can't. And like I said, this can be shifted. This can be shifted. Just keep at it. Keep trying this this assessment. I think it's definitely going to pan out for you. It's about consistency. So it takes time. Obviously, yes, it takes time to do this. One thing that he said that I absolutely loved is that obviously this shift takes time. If everyone did it, we wouldn't be having this discussion. But it takes time to live with vision and intention. So you need to live your life with vision and intention. Most of us are waking up and reacting to life. We're just letting it happen to us. It's just happening around, and we're just like pew, 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 like trying to divert like the bullets, or like, what is that, matrix things away. And that's surviving. That's not thriving. So when we take the reins, when we say, this is how I am going to go forward, these are the goals I'm going to move, these are the actions I'm going to take, that's when we do what he calls living a life by design. We get to choose it. We get to put it into motion, right? So keep doing that by the morning routines and pushing and challenging yourself, and have a life that's incredible. That's what we're learning. So one super awesome shift and way to think that he brought to us kind of flips the idea of supply and demand, right? So in economics, it's all about supply and demand. That's what we've learned. We learned in school, wherever you've heard it, TV, supply and demand. That's how it works. You got demand, you have the supply, whoever's got the supply, we get the demand, right? That's how it works in economics. But in life, we have to flip that. And demand creates supply. So the more we demand of ourselves, or gets demanded of us, surprisingly, the more we can supply. You might think like, that's weird. What are you talking about? It's crazy. The best place that I can think of an example where this plays out in life, like relatively often, is in a work situation. So you're at work, and Barbara has taken the week off. And instead of getting someone to, take Barbara's place for the week, and instead of Barbara, getting her together and actually getting their stuff, in order before she left, that girl just took off to Tahiti and didn't even care about nobody. And now, guess what? Bosses come to you and they're like, hey, I need you to do all of Barbara's work this week. That's the deal. It just has to happen. You're like, well, if that was the case, we wouldn't even need Barbara, right? But they want Barbara. Barbara's going to stay, but you got to do Barbara's work. So here you are now with the workload that usually takes you your whole week already, and now they want you to do Barbara's work. And you're thinking, this is ridiculous. I can't stand this. This is the worst boss ever. And they probably are. All of these things, like you probably calling Barbara names, which isn't nice, but you know what happens. So here you are, and guess what? You push through, you do whatever it takes. You might stay late, you might skip lunches, you might just work faster. Maybe you're not allowing any interruptions, there's less coffee breaks, no chit chat, like you're focused. You are deadline focused because it has to get done. There's no other choice, right? That demand created the supply of energy, the supply of this magic extra time to do work, whatever it was, that demand created the supply. Now imagine if we took the same principle into our lives where we put it there. Instead of somebody else putting it on us, imagine if we put it there. What could we accomplish? What could we go through? What could we do if we were able to put that demand on us? There's that fine line of like piling on something crazy, unrealistic expectations, all that stuff, right? Let's put that aside. We're not looking at that mode of things, okay? We're looking at is, instead of saying, when you're comfortable, right? You're saying comfortable goals. You're like, I could do that like once a week, I guess. Maybe it's time to push for 4 times a week, right? Maybe it's time to push a little harder. Set something, commit to something, put yourself in a situation, create an environment that demands the supply of you, right? For the stuff that you want to accomplish. Not something that demands a supply of you, like, you know, you're going to volunteer to do 400 cookies for the PTA because it'll make you look good, but that has nothing to do to benefit you in the long run, right? That doesn't help you grow. That doesn't help you do something. That's just like putting unrealistic expectations and like way too many cookies anyone needs to be cooking, right? So this is about like, man, I really wanted to learn German, right? So maybe it's time to step it up a bit. Throw yourself in the class. Go to Germany. Whatever that takes. Go big. Go big and make that demand create the supply that you probably never knew you had. You never knew you could find so quickly. So I loved this thinking. I love this thing that he shared with us. It's such a simple, simple concept. And we see it manifest itself in our lives all the time. It's just usually put there by somebody else. So it's time for us to put it there for ourselves and see what we can really do and accomplish. Love, love, love that. He also mentioned a famous historian, William Durant, said most people could do double if their situation demanded it. So, you know, we can do more. We can do more for ourselves. Okay, again, fine line of like, just piling nonsense on, right? Then we go back to that whole assessment. Are we spending our time doing the things we really like, right? So there's checks and balances here. Don't get like crazy, I'm superwoman, I'm going to do everything, because that's a trap. So doing our awesome stuff, that's what we do. Another great concept, when the why is strong enough, you will figure out the how. So back in the beginning, if you recall, in our first lessons, we did these 7 levels of why, which was a really, really deep dig into the whole why concept. And a lot of you, I'm sure, have heard this. If you're, you know, on any motivational Instagram page or like pretty much anywhere in life, it's on some poster, I'm sure, is, you know, what's your why? Find your why. Where's your why? Right? But how deep digging do we do? Like, how deep a digging to get to that like really core of the why? And we went 7 levels deep, which is like crazy archaeological level deep, right? Just like almost nonsensical. But it gets in there and you get to like really like, wow, my motivation is a whole different place than where I started, right? So when you find out that why, when you can really hold on to that and see what that is, the how, you're like, oh yeah, I can figure this part out because this why is so important. It's so real to me. It's so what it's about that I can do it. I can find the how, right? So another great quote, I'm sure to quote, concept, whatnot, is when the why is strong enough, you'll figure out the how. Now, moving on to our assignment and what we were actually given for this week was to read So Good They Can't Ignore You by Cal Newport. So that's so good that they can't ignore you by Cal Newport. And what this really does is it dispels a lot of myths based around what he calls the passion hypothesis. And this is the concept that there is some amazing thing that you should be doing that most of us have not covered, right? It's still covered. Like we need to find it and uncover it of like what our passion is and how it matches with some sort of action, usually a career or something that we should be doing and engaging in. And once we can go through life and find it and uncover it, then like eternal bliss is yours. Like, oh, I just finally did my passion. It's what I was passionate about, right? And most of us grew up with us thinking like, well, this is good thinking. Right? This is much better than like maybe my grandparents thinking just nose to the grindstone, get your retirement, you know, have fun for 15 years of your life and then you're done, right? So he comes in and really like kind of smacks us around and flips us on our head because he's like this whole idea of passion, following your passion and finding this passion, the magic passion job, is a bunch of crap. And you're like, what are you talking about? Yeah, he's like, this is crap. But he doesn't leave you there. He's like, okay, so if I'm going to say this is crap, let's find out what is the good advice. And he actually does this not just in his own opinion. He goes through and does a lot of research with successful people, and he walks you through all of these things. It's really, really amazing. He even looks at Steve Jobs, which a lot of us would go, well, that's a guy following his passion. No, you'll be surprised if you don't know his whole story. It's great how he kind of breaks down and you see it in a whole different light, like what you thought you knew. Okay, so check it out. Super awesome. One of the things I love is that he goes into he focuses on that, you know, we should find instead of focusing on finding our passion, we should find the things and build career capital, right? Build career capital, things that are rare and valuable, things that we can do that are rare and valuable, right? So That's just a little sneak peek there. As far as the book goes, we had such a short amount of time to read it, and I'm not a great reader anyway, like I'm working on that. But I went and found it on YouTube, audio version, and listened to it on double time, not even kidding. So I did it in about 30-minute, 45-minute increments on double time. So the whole entire audio is about 6 hours, 6.5 hours if you want to listen to the glossary. And if you're in a pinch like me, or maybe you're just not a great reader, or you don't have time to find the book, that was a great option. Highly recommend it. Plus, when you listen to it on double time, you really have to sit and like listen. Like you can't multitask when it's like, right? So it was helpful for me. It made me really sit and focus. I had to listen, take a bunch of notes. And from there, what we were supposed to do is write down our three to five insights that we had from that, and then write 1 to 2 things that we're going to do to basically implement it, or ultimately the specific wording was 1 to 2 things that how we will change our approach to our goals immediately. Like 1 of the things we found like in this book useful that will help us change our approach to our goals immediately. Right? So that was the exercise that we needed to do for that. One other thing I want to throw in about that book, which is great too, is he talks about the passion mindset, which we just discussed, but he also says the passion mindset is that, you know, the person searching for this perfect job, this perfect work to do. And ultimately what that is saying, it's asking, you know, what can the world offer me? You know, I'm trying to find this happiness. I'm trying to find this. So what is this passion? What can the world offer me so I can live within my passion? And what he says is we should be looking at the craftsman mindset, which ultimately hones in these skills that are rare and valuable and allows us to then ask, you know, what can I do for the world? And it sounds really lofty and something like that, but I'm telling you, get in here, even if you're anti-foofy or whatever you want to call it. It's this great shift in the thinking. I think it's very powerful, and actually just recently recommended it to a friend's daughter who's on her way to college and kind of overwhelmed with like this figuring out what you want to do for the rest of your life. And I think this is a great book for people in that situation as well. So again, check it out. Benjamin Hardy also mentioned 2 articles that were helpful that kind of go along with this whole thought process and thinking that we've been talking about in this lesson. And the first one is called How to Develop Mastery, Make Millions, and Be Happy. 3 things that pretty much sound amazing. How to develop mastery, make millions, and be happy. So you can find that on Thrive Global, and I'm sure somewhere else. So just, you know, Google Benjamin Hardy, that title, you're going to find it everywhere, I'm sure. He also went on to explain that he's not just preaching at us. You know, he is definitely practicing what he preaches. He's involved in doing this. This is what he's experiencing as well. And we're ultimately tagging along with him the same way that you guys are tagging along with me. And so he has had great experiences with these things that he's teaching us each week in real time, like happening now. So he wrote an article kind of explaining some of the things that he's implemented and the results from that. So you can check out that article, and that is called How I've Applied 10X Thinking, Valuable Skills, and Investing in Relationships. So again, that is How I've Applied 10X Thinking, Valuable Skills, and Investing in Relationships. And 10X Thinking is a concept that Dan Sullivan talks about, and Dan Sullivan is it's called the strategic coach, I think. He's like one of those really high level, like top coaches in the world. And he basically has coined kind of this concept about 10X thinking, you know. So a lot of us might look at something and say, okay, I've made $1,000, so I want to make $2,000 now, right? I want to double. That's 2X. But he's like, no. When you get that, when you put the focus into 10X, right? So I made 1,000. Now it's time to make 10,000. Like, whoa, like, hold back there, guy. You're a little crazy. Now, he says that is actually where we find more success. It's not just because, obviously, it's more money, right? Whoa. But it's actually that when we have the little step, I'm not going to go into the whole theory here. I'm going to let you guys watch it. But we go into the little step. It's kind of like there's little changes and whatnot we do, and things can get cloudy, and we may or may not even reach that goal, right? We figured out how to do 1,000, but maybe the 2 is pushing it. But the 10,000, which seems way harder, you would think, because we put something so big out there, our brain's so big, we have to focus on it. We've committed to this crazy goal. So we really focus on it, and we kind of push all the other nonsense aside that isn't going to help us reach that goal. we're just like, yeah, this can be a good idea, but this is not going to help me make my 10x goal right now. So I just have to just beeline for this. I need to be right here. And it keeps you in a whole different mind frame of thinking and focus and action. And because of that, he says that the 10x thinking is way more valuable, successful, and easier in a lot of ways than 2x thinking. So there are 2 videos out there about this. Literally just Google Dan Sullivan and 10x thinking. The 2 videos that Benjamin Hardy shared with us was one that was an hour long. And again, I put it on 2 times and just watched it in half an hour. And the other one was about a 3-minute video. So again, just Dan Sullivan, 10x thinking, easier than 2x, and you'll get the results for the 2 of those. Check them out. Accountability group, of course, it's required. So you will be watching that. And yeah, 10x thinking makes you think differently. You have to shift and look at your life. You have to remove the stuff that's a distraction. And it's a really great concept. So I'm excited for you guys to hear about it. And that is really it for this week. So if you enjoyed being here, then definitely click that subscribe button. You'll get notified when our next lessons come up. And if you want to push yourself even further, come in and join our Build-A-Biz Biz Builders Facebook group. And that you can find at www.facebook.com/groups/We Are Biz Builders. I know it's crazy long, so the easiest thing is to just go in the description below, find that link, click it, and come join us. We do weekly live lessons there. We do lots of things to focus on motivation and on balance and also growing your business. So we do things, we teach marketing, we teach all types of things that are just helpful to grow your business, right? All for free. So come and join, and I will see you all next week. So bye-bye.